Khuddaka Nikāya, the Minor Collection Discourses, Sutta Nipāta, Sutta number 2.13, Sammāparibbājanīya Sutta, the correct way to go forth. I ask the sage with boundless wisdom, who has gone beyond and crossed over to the other shore, and is fully liberated, standing untouched by all things. For a bhikkhu who has left behind the household life and moved away entirely from sensuality, what is the correct way to go forth in the world? The Blessed One replied, it is when superstitions, ideas of the auspicious, collecting blessings or trying somehow to add a spiritual protection, or having interest and belief in sacred amulets, different omens, celestial signs, dreams, and all other signs such as bodily features, are all eradicated from one's heart and just given up, along with any corruption still left within or belief in some supernatural influence, all being totally eradicated from your heart. This is the correct way to go forth in the world. The bhikkhu resolutely abandons lusting after sensual experiences, whether human or those enjoyed in heavenly realms. And by being rooted in the foundation that is the Dhamma, he transcends rebirth altogether. This itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. Being far removed from divisive and slanderous attitudes, he walks away completely from states of anger and all contentious behavior, and by relinquishing the inner drive to favor one while opposing another, he correctly goes forth into the world, with no one left for him to consider as friend or enemy, no longer grabbing onto this or that, nor being dependent on anything, and by releasing himself free from all shackles and things that bind, this itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. No longer finding any essence nor substance in obtaining things, with passions faded away for things that once seemed dear to him. Now he has only himself to fall back on, being completely self-reliant with no need for anyone to lead him here or there. This is the correct way to go forth in the world. Lacking hostility, whether in words, thoughts, or bodily actions, having thoroughly known and seen the Dhamma, one is set on his path, determined to personally experience full liberation. This itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. If the bhikkhu does not get cocky or brash, seeing others bowing to him, nor starts fretting or becomes resentful when he is criticized or rebuked, and when respected and offered food by others, he does not become conceited or arrogant because of it. This itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. Giving up the greed for more, as well as the longing for re-becoming, when the bhikkhu has entirely turned his back to any forms of violence and the drive to cause harm. Because of this, all doubts are dispelled in him, as the hooks that suffocated him all fall off. This itself then becomes the correct way to go forth in the world. Knowing for himself how and what it is to feel good, the bhikkhu makes sure he does not cause harm to anyone in the world, And having studied and understood the Dhamma by seeing the way things truly are, this itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. When there are no more underlying tendencies left whatsoever in his behavior, with the roots of unwholesome actions pulled out completely, with no hopes or expectations left to drag him here or there, this itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. With the contaminants of the heart finally extinguished and conceit fully eliminated, getting liberated from the entire range of lust, remaining tamed, quenched, and fully restrained, while standing as steadfast as ever, this itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. Firmly established in faith, having learned and studied much, with a clear path of practice ahead of himself, the wise one remains untouched as he avoids taking sides in the disputing of others. And through discipline, having rid himself of greed, hatred, and disgust, this itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. Victorious and pure, with the veil of deceit finally removed, having mastered himself, one stands unperturbed in the face of whatever happens, possessing the supreme knowledge in his heart of how all conditioned things must end sooner or later. This itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. Not wasting his time speculating on things that might have happened in the past, nor of things that might happen in the future. He understands purity by having gone beyond it through his direct wisdom, and therefore he is now released, and no longer a slave to his 6 sense spheres. This itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. Personally experiencing the state of peace, while seeing and appreciating the beauty of the Dhamma, along with the giving up of all one's achievements, as the fact of the elimination of the heart's contaminants becomes unmistakably visible, this itself is the correct way to go forth in the world. Most certainly indeed, O blessed Lord, it is just as you explain. For whoever may live the life of such a disciplined bhikkhu, through conquering and thus going beyond all the fetters that bind the heart, one will indeed be living the correct way of going forth. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.